Good morning, guys. Just sitting here at the computer, and I don't know if I was dreaming about it. I was thinking about it before I went to bed last night. The Jack and Carol McWilliams murders. And I was going to actually load up the truck this morning and head on out to the site, the bridge, and metal detect the site. However, I'm still not 100% sure that the bridge we were at is the right place. So I decided to log onto the computer and go back into the newspaper clippings and look for there's one photo for sure, maybe more, one for sure that I remember seeing. Yeah, okay, it's from 1969, so the road doesn't look anything the same. But I thought there was a bend in the road in the image. And the bridge, after all my research that I thought it was, the North River, I mean, there's a couple places that the North River crosses that road. But anyway, in my head, I realized it's a straight stretch. And in the image that I saw, the photo, I'm pretty sure there was a bend. I don't know why I was thinking that all of a sudden, because I was like ready to load the truck and go this morning. And I was like, wait. And when I pulled up Google overhead maps and I looked from Street View, if that is the place, the straight stretch, they have bulldozed it and erosion controlled it, and the whole bank of the river is rocks where they put in the bridge, where they did construction work, and it's all cleared. And that's really going to hamper my metal detecting, because it's not the little trail, fishing trail down the side of the river that I had envisioned in my head would be there. It's had construction done to it. So I'm not giving up on that. I just want to make sure 100% that that's the place where they were murdered. There's other things going on in this case too, guys, that I want to talk about. So as I was looking for that photo, I found another clipping that I had never read before. I feel like such a bad investigator. Okay, guys, I'm an amateur sleuth, okay? I'm new at this. But I feel like all these pieces are coming to me. I feel two things. I feel these pieces are coming to me in an order in which I'm supposed to find them, which is weird, okay? But also I feel like I'm bad at this because I'm missing things that could answer questions, or I'm looking at things with a preconceived notion, or my imagination is so good I make up stories along the way and I say, oh, well, this could be, Jack was undercover. This makes sense. Somebody was undercover. That's what we know, because it says deep cover many times. It says fake friends. It says there's conversations about dealing with the police through the 10 videos that we've made. And then today, after I've done all that work, months and months and months later, I'm looking for this photo and I find another clipping that I missed, which says attempted murder charge dropped against Kelly. Now, we talked about it. I knew that at some point previous to the murders, Donald Kelly had said he was going to murder Carol McWilliams. Now, I find this clipping here that says that he was actually charged. The grand jury was in Monday, presented with bills of indictment, which they considered in private in the company of the Crown Attorney, and they returned them this morning. The jury ruled that Kelly should stand trial on the possession charge, but should not stand trial on the attempted murder charge. The charge was laid as a result of an incident at Main Street East residence September 28, 1969. Constable Ron Bailey of the North Bay Police Department testified this morning that about 10 p.m. on the day of the question, a drinking party at the residence was in progress, with about 20 people present. I find this next statement weird, okay? It says, Constable Bailey said that Kelly took a handgun which appeared similar to a .38 caliber revolver. Why is that important? So he's testifying after the fact. This is now March, this newspaper article. Okay, 71. So this is a couple years later. Constable Bailey is then testifying after the fact from an incident that occurred in September. The murders then occurred in November. We know that in November they're trying to pin this murder as being done with a .38 caliber, which they never found. So now he goes back talking about this incident, and Constable Bailey says The gun was similar to a .38 caliber. Right? I find that odd. It's just another little bit of, hey, I'm a police officer and I'm saying it was close to a .38. Oh, wait, they were murdered with a .38. Hey, he attempted all of this back in September before they were murdered. Right? This is what I'm getting at, okay? Said he was going to shoot Carol McWilliams as she was a police informer. So that's why he was trying to kill her in September, or said he was going to kill her. And so what happened is there's another name that comes up here. He cautioned others in the room. So this is the state, okay, that we talked about, that Donald Kelly is such a raving lunatic, bad guy, that he was. He had this side to him. You know, this almost sounds like a bluster. He was going to threaten her to me, because a psychopath doesn't warn other people to get the hell out of the way, right? He cautioned others in the room between himself and Mrs. McWilliams to move out of the way, and he began advancing in her direction. Another person in the room, Maurice Roy. I've never heard this name. We're familiar with Jerry Roy, who I can't find very much stuff on, told Mrs. Williams to run. Well, he tried to jump Kelly. Constable Bailey stated that Roy jumped over a table and struck Kelly's outstretched hand. The bullet was discharged, striking the wall above the sofa where McWilliams was seated. Constable Bailey said Mr. McWilliams fled from the apartment and called police from a neighbor's house. Okay, so I feel bad that we've gone down all these roads. We know there's an informant. Somebody's undercover. I think we kind of touched on the fact that it could be Carol. But I missed this, that he actually went on trial, for possession of this weapon. Not for attempted murder. They said no, because somebody else hit his hand and the gun went off. He never actually pulled the trigger. In hindsight, had this event actually unfolded without anybody interfering, we would have seen what was going to happen, which probably would have been a threatening, a screaming, a confrontation right then and there, an outing of Carol as a police informant. Maybe that would have been the end of it. But because somebody intervened and the gun went off and she fled and all this other stuff happened, there's no way he was going to murder Carol in front of 20 witnesses. So, seeing this article right here, I know there's more things I missed. I want to get all my ducks in a row. I'm going to go over these newspaper clippings again with a fine-tooth Matlock view. I'm not going to go out to the site today. I do want to go. And we need to go in the next week here before the spring grasses get any higher. I just want to make sure 100% that if I go, I'm in the right place.
Okay, so if we go back out Highway 63, we hit Whitfield Station Road. We hang a left onto Whitfield Station Road. We drive. We don't drive very far until we come to the first crossing of the North River. Let's take a look. You'll notice there is a bend in the road here. What does it look like? Well, there's the river crossing. Let's just go down here and turn around and look at this. Right on the corner is where the river crosses. Okay, so is this our place? It looks nothing like this. We don't know which direction. Are we facing north here, or are we facing south? That's the problem. were we looking this way? Was there a bridge? I think, was the bridge right here? The wooden railing? I can't back the camera up anymore. Was the picture taken from right over here on this, looking this way? The road, so it would have kind of been like this. The bridge was right here. Police car. To me, this makes a lot of sense for the fact that if you are going to murder somebody, you're going to hit this road and you're going to do it very quick. The first place that the road crosses. Okay, so if they came that back way, the first substantial water that they would hit that they could be able to dump them in is where Doug and I did our investigation on this bridge. However, this doesn't look anything like the photo. It just doesn't.
We need to talk about something else super important, guys. Find the book. Okay, the tip is in the book, etc. Right? We've heard these clips. They're telling me they've mentioned the tip at least 24 times, okay? I don't know what the tip is. I looked for a book. I spent hours looking for a book. There is nothing online about a book except a book that was written by a woman who contacted Kelly while he was in prison out west and met him, became a pen pal, and married him. And this book was on their love story and her story as a woman dating a man accused of murder and whatever it was. I was like, okay, this isn't what I'm after. And that was the only book I could find. Now, my Aunt Angie tells me that her son was in town here at one of the used shops and he found this book. And I don't know if he watches my channel or why he was interested in this. He picked it up. It's about 5 cases from this area. It was written by the former chief of police. I think he was a chief. He was definitely on the police force here. And he covers this murder. I don't know how in depth it is, but so my cousin was going to finish reading the book, and Aunt Angie's going to bring it to me. And I'm like, I looked for a book. I couldn't find a book. Now, tomorrow, we're getting the book. Is the tip in the book? Is there something mentioned in there that I'm going to just have a light bulb moment? Because Carol's supposed to be helping me here. And that's when I went to bed last night. I was talking to Carol. In my head, I was like, okay, we need to move forward on this. Your time to help me is now. Can you help me? And then that's the last thing I remember before falling asleep and then waking up this morning going, wait a minute, you can't go. Guys, I hate to say this. I got a feeling that that's not the right place. I have that feeling. Now, it was winter and there's 3 feet of snow out there and Doug and I couldn't see anything except guardrails and the river going underneath. So we couldn't look at anything. And it's been, 50 whatever years. I also feel that doing these reversed messages from the dead, where I go through and I do the session and I listen for hours and I'm putting in all the words, then I go back and I read to you guys the order of the words. It almost is like the telling of a story, okay? Little bits and pieces of it. This section is about this. This section is about this. And when you put them all together, it makes sense. I almost feel like I need to go back through all of these videos and sessions that we did and just write down every response in a row. Is that going to tell some kind of story? Did I get stuff wrong along the way? I'm sure I have, guys. I'm sure I've misheard words. It's not clear. Some of the words are very super clear. And other times it's like it could be this or it could be that. And then I listen to the 3 or 4 or 5 words before, 3 or 4 or 5 words after, and I say, well, if it's this word, that makes sense. And then I listen to it again. Is this what they're telling me? And I try to go with an intuitive feeling. Is this what they're trying to tell me? And that's what we've put. But have I got stuff wrong? I'm sure I've gotten stuff wrong, guys. Why can't they just come out and say it a little clearer and not talk over each other if this is real? And why can't they just give us the sentence? Ian Rose shot Carol and Jack on the bridge this night with this gun. Here's where the gun is. That's what I want. Am I asking too much? Here we go, guys. I'm just reading again these reports and the ridiculousness of these statements that we've talked about. I'm looking at the verdict in Kelly murder trial in the hands of the jury, and they're discussing all of the case and the evidence that was reported. And I just want to read this part to you guys again because this makes no sense. This is so stupid. They're talking about when the guns were shot into the wall and that the .38 caliber was what had killed Jack and Carol because they each had a slug in their head. Okay, and they said that this gun was sawed off. It didn't have rifling in it. And that it was very weak because they had shot Jack through the mouth, knocking out a tooth, and the bullet had become lodged in the palate of his mouth. And so then they put one behind his ear. They did the same thing to Carol, okay? So they're saying it was a weak gun, and they make this whole argument. Now they're saying that night at the party, previously they were shooting the guns at a vase. What did Kelly take out of the wall? Because witnesses replied that there had been a sheet of plywood on the wall and that it had been removed after the bullets were there and the two people were killed, that they had replaced it with a half sheet of plywood, okay? And that was to get rid of the bullet holes. What did Kelly take out of the wall? Only the .38 caliber shells. There were 7 .32 caliber slugs there, but they didn't care about those. That's what it actually says. Now you tell me that these two morons, drunk, high, hungover, adrenaline pumping through them, they just murdered 2 people, they're going to tell the difference between a .32 caliber slug and a .38 caliber slug that's been mashed into the backside of a wall? No, they're going to pull every bullet out of there and get rid of it. They didn't do that. Guys, they didn't even take the bullets out of the wall. Okay? This is a fabricated story by the police saying, oh, there were 2 sets of bullets there, and these guys only removed the .38s. We didn't find any .38s. They removed all the .38s. They didn't miss one. They didn't accidentally miss one. No, they got them all. But they left 7 .32 caliber bullets in there. The people at the party testified, oh, he took a couple shots, and he took a couple shots, and he took a couple shots. Well, right there, 3 of them took a couple shots. Maybe one of them took an extra. There's 7. There's 7 bullets in that wall. It never happened. That's how bad they wanted this guy, that they made up stories, and they just, oh, well, they took out the bullets that came from the gun they murdered the people with. They left the other bullets there. Ridiculous.